Welcome to the Pioneer Sideline. I'm Blaine King. Today on the Sideline, we will find out if the volleyball team was able to continue their undefeated streak in the River State Conference play. We will also see how the Steelers fared this weekend against the Philadelphia Eagles. And another quarterback goes down. Find out which team is running thin at the position. But first, we are taking it to the pitch. The men's soccer team hit the road this past week and looked to get their first road win of the season. Sarah Maculin is here with the story.
Last Saturday, the Point Park University men's soccer team traveled to Michigan to take on Siena Heights University. Looking for their fourth win of the season, Siena Heights got off to a fast start, scoring 3 goals in the first 27 minutes of the game. Point Park was able to score before halftime thanks to a goal by Roberto Whitley, his third of the season. Rajit Mukhamedev recorded his team-leading 4th assist on the play. That would be the only goal for Point Park, as neither team would score in the second half, resulting in a final score of 3-1. Point Park then traveled to Grove City College last Tuesday in another non-conference matchup. Like the last game, the Pioneers were unable to get much going on offense. Down 1-0, Point Park's Alan Ramos got the team on the board with an unassisted goal to tie the game. Ramos leads the team in goals scored with 6 in 7 games. However, that would be the only goal Point Park would score all game. Grove City put 1 more in the net before half and another 3 to dominate the second and beat the Pioneers 5-1. With that loss, Point Park soccer falls to a record of 3-3-1 on the season. The Pioneers will return to action this Thursday, September 29th against Asbury University of Kentucky at Highmark Stadium at 8 o'clock. This will mark the start of River State's conference play for the Pioneers as they look to bounce back from a 2-game losing streak.
All right, thanks, Sarah. So, what is the struggle offensively for this team?
I think there's key players that aren't stepping up. I mean, you can't blame one person in particular. A team's a team. They have to play together. But it can't all be Alan Ramos. He has 6 goals in 7 games. I mean, that's pretty good. You have to have other people stepping up. You have seniors in Troy Dolange and Rajit Mukhamedev, even though he's leading in assists.
Right.
They need to do more to keep the ball in the opponent's side. The time of possession, it's going to be in the defensive side the whole time, and Paul Carr and Josh Williams can't do it all.
Got you. And for the road struggles, is this an individual effort or is this just a team effort?
It's just a team effort. I have not obviously gotten to travel with the team and watch a game, but as far as their home games, they seem more excited, they seem more upbeat, ready to play. I think it's a change of attitude. Okay,
makes sense. Thanks, Sarah. While the men were looking for their first road win of the season, the women, they were just looking for their first win of the season. Jess Paterchek will now join me and discuss what's happening with the women's team.
This past Wednesday, the Pioneers women's soccer team got their first win of the season against Geneva College. Junior forward Izzy Hunter was the first to get on the scoreboard off of an assist from Noelle Hartle. She scored in the 11th minute of the half. Other goal scorers of the game were freshman Chloe Hampy and Lauren Bauer. They scored to make it 3-0 at the half. Gabby Widman also scored off of a foul kick, making the final score 4-0. And in their most recent game, the Pioneers struck a draw with their matchup against non-conference team St. Vincent in Latrobe. St. Vincent was the first to score a goal in the first half to be up 1-0 at the half. Senior Erin Gilmartin scored in the 58th minute of the second half to tie up the game. After this, no more goals would be scored for the duration of the game. Point Park outshot St. Vincent 24-20 within 110 minutes of play. This game managed to go to double overtime, and still, even with the extra game time, no goals were scored by either team. No, it wasn't a W in the win column for Point Park, but it wasn't a loss either. Freshman goalkeeper Rebecca Cohen has no losses under her belt within her 2 starts this season for Point Park. Let's see if they can keep up with this momentum in future matchups.
Jess, do you see the women's team finding a winning streak throughout the rest of October, just so that they can make a run for the River State's conference title?
Absolutely. After getting their first win and even this draw now, they can definitely get some momentum from that, and hopefully, especially with their conference matchups. All the losses they've gotten here at the beginning of the season were in non-conference matchups, against really high-ranked teams. So if they play teams that are more at their level, they can absolutely get that conference title.
The tie that they had, should we consider that a moral victory for the team, or not, or should it just be a loss and nothing considered, just because ties, I mean, they can't affect the standings that much?
Yeah, I mean, it's not the best to draw, but I mean, it isn't a loss either, so it's definitely good that they were able to, hold out strong and make sure that they didn't end with another loss. But, hopefully that'll make them spur on and hopefully get better here against the conference matchups they face here in the future.
Thanks, Jess. Coming up after break, find out if the volleyball team was able to push their conference record to 3-0. Also, is Bill Belichick the best coach ever? We'll discuss that when we get back.
We are a social people. We share our inspiration, wisdom, creations, and memories. We share what makes us laugh and what angers us. Built on the notion of a free flow of ideas, our country thrives on the freedom of speech. Without it, who would watch over our governing powers? And how would we share our history to make a difference for the future? It's this freedom to share that gives us a reason to listen.
All right, guys, any questions on script? Are we good to go?
Yep,
right.
Should be good.
All right, great.
Cool.
All right, yeah, camera 3 set up right there. Camera 2, use the ball when you're moving this around, but set up for the 2 shot just right there. Weather, how we doing?
It go rain.
Perfect.
Welcome back to Daybreak. I'm Sarah Mackin with you. The real host, Adrian Malone, was seen snuggled up against.
All right, prompter, we got everything in, we're good to go? Key Pro, everything loaded, we're good to go? All right, Tyler, any questions?
That shot looks fine.
3, 2, 1. Bring up camera 2. Open mics. Cue talent.
Good morning and welcome to Daybreak. I'm Blaine King.
Thanks for tuning in. I'm Aubrey Henkin.
And I'm Aaron Myler.
And this is Entertainment on Point.
Beyonce has surprised us again.
Kanye West just tweeted.
This was a huge weekend at the box office.
A fan favorite TV show just got canceled.
Guess what band is coming to the city? And the award went to...
But did you see her engagement ring?
Her outfit was awful.
I would fire her stylist.
Tune in for all of your Hollywood gossip and pop culture news.
Entertainment on Point.
Get into the point of pop culture.
Yeah!
We now take it to the volleyball court, where the women's volleyball team played a crosstown rival in the River State's conference battle. Megan Masiosi has the story on whether the Pioneers were able to go 3-0 in conference play.
Thanks, Blaine. The Point Park women's volleyball team had a huge win Tuesday night against Carlisle University. The women's team swept the Carlisle Celtics by winning 3 straight sets in a row. The first set, the Pioneers were up 9-3, thanks to senior Shiloh Simonson, who had 3 service aces, and they won that set 25-19. The second set, the Pioneers won 25-12, but the third set is where the Pioneers really took over. The Pioneers and the Celtics were tied 5-5 until junior Julianne Ross went back to serve. Ross went on a 7-point run, which boosted the Pioneers to win the third set 25-17. Some notable performances were from Shiloh Simonson, who had 8 kills, 12 digs, and 6 service aces, and senior Emily Mang, who had 21 assists to 6 different players, 4 kills and 8 digs. The Pioneers are now 3-0 in the River States Conference and improved their overall record to 7 wins and 12 losses. Their next game is actually occurring right now against Rio Grande in the Student Center gym, so go out and support your Pioneers.
All right, so Megan, can Point Park continue to push their record in River State's conference play? They're already 3-0. Could we see them on a run here, possibly getting to 4-0 by the end of tonight?
Yeah, I think they could. They definitely, I think playing non-conference games against harder teams has helped them. Obviously, they're now 3-0 in the conference. So I think probably by the end of the night, they'll probably be 4-0. They're looking really good.
Cool. And you mentioned that playing those non-conference matchups were kind of key to Point Park. They're tougher opponents, but it also teaches them how to play as a team. How effective do you think this team can be heading down the stretch?
I think they could be pretty good. They have a lot of leadership. They have mostly seniors and juniors. They do have one sophomore starter, and she's doing really well. But I think headed down the season, they could do pretty well. I mean, they're already 3-0 in the conference, so they keep playing tougher teams. I think they have the stamina to keep winning.
Thanks, Megan. Now heading over to the Lynx. The Tour Championship and the FedEx Cup wrapped up on Sunday, and Phil Papour has the inside scoop on what went down at East Lake.
Thanks, Blaine. Dustin Johnson entered the final round of the PGA Tour Championship in control of his own destiny. Johnson, who broke through earlier this season with the first major win of his career at the U.S. Open at Oakmont, entered the weekend in the top spot of the FedEx Cup standings. That meant a win at East Lake would guarantee him the tour title and the $10 million prize that comes with it. Johnson did his part through the first 3 rounds, finishing Saturday in a tie for the lead at 8 under. However, Johnson's putting failed him down the stretch Sunday. He made the turn at 1 over and then double bogeyed the 12th, which opened the door for many in the field, including Rory McIlroy. In fact, it was Johnson's double bogey that prompted McIlroy to go for it all, telling his caddy on the 13th hole, "Let's win this thing." McIlroy kept himself in contention heading into the 16th hole, trailing by 3 strokes, but with one mighty swing, McIlroy erased that deficit. And easily the shot of the tournament, McIlroy holed out for eagle on the par 4 16th from 137 yards out. McIlroy then ended his round with a par on the 17th and a birdie on the par 5 18th to finish with a 6 under final round 64 and an overall score of 12 under. Now all he could do was wait and hope for a playoff. He got his wish, heading back out on the course for a sudden death match with Kevin Chappell and Ryan Moore. Johnson, who finished with the worst round of the day at 3 over 73, still had a chance to win the FedEx Cup. A Moore or Chappell win would give Johnson the title, while a McIlroy win would cement the championship. The trio played the par 5 18th first, with Moore and McIlroy carding birdies to Chappell's par. It was a disappointing finish for Chappell, who held the lead for most of the day, but he remains without a PGA Tour win. Moore and McIlroy then replayed the 18th, both carding pars. They also parred the par 3 15th, but it seemed like only a matter of time before McIlroy would triumph, which he did on the 4th playoff hole. He sank a 14-foot, 6-inch putt for birdie to eliminate Moore and claim his first Tour championship. Moore also received a prize for his performance, however, locking up the final spot on the U.S. Ryder Cup team.
Thanks, Phil. So will this like push Rory now to win more championships, or was this just kind of Dustin Johnson just losing it?
I have to say that I do think it's kind of Dustin Johnson losing it. Dustin Johnson, I mean, he had, for all intents and purposes, a really great year. I mean, like I said, he was that guy that could never get through, never, finish the job with a major, and he broke through at one of the hardest courses in the U.S., Oakmont. So I'd say it was definitely his to win. But McIlroy, I think he is going to use this because you can tell he has that fire, especially last year. He missed a couple tournaments from injury.
Right.
He really, I think he's going to come out next year, and I think he's going to win a lot of tournaments.
Okay. And Phil, I know that you're an avid golfer, and with the passing of Arnold Palmer, how much of an effect did he have on you personally as a golfer and even as a person? Obviously, I know you're going to miss him a lot. But
that's what the cardigan's for. Arnold Palmer is a classic cardigan. But, yeah, it's just he was one of those golfers that he really was just great for the game, not in terms of his ability or the number of majors he won in 7. It's just he really did it the right way. His father, I believe, he worked at a golf course growing up, and his father just taught him the way to do everything. Make sure you repair your ball marks. Make sure you're nice to the people at these tournaments. And it just, the way he carried himself is something that anyone can kind of follow or idolize. He treated the fans well. I mean, he had Arnie's Army.
Yeah.
It's just, And what he and his wife did in terms of just all their philanthropy, like they really were good people, and I've never heard a bad story from anyone about Arnold Palmer.
Yes.
And it just, to have someone like that that's such a big icon in the game and you don't hear anything bad about them, I mean, that goes a lot to his character. And I think that's something you can take from for sure.
Yeah, and as you said, I've never even heard anything bad about him, especially over the airways the past few days. But yeah, very nice guy from what I've heard. I went up to his golf course in Latrobe, and even the workers there, they said he's just a fantastic guy. So he's going to be very well missed.
Yeah, that's for sure.
All right, but thanks, Phil. Sadly, tragedy did strike the sports world this weekend, as we did lose a legend in Arnold Palmer, but we also lost a promising all-star with great potential. We will talk more after the break.
Here on the Pioneer Sideline, we talk a lot about sports in the studio, but it's beforehand when the conversation is actually interesting.
I hope I have enough powder on. I don't want to be too shiny on camera.
No, Trevor, I think it looks good every week you pull it off.
Ah, thanks, Phil. Man, your hair looks great tonight, by the way.
You sure? Yeah, I mean, I got a new haircut, but it looks all right.
Hey, guys. Does this make me look fat?
No, you look great.
You look good.
Yeah, Kyle.
Thanks, I was really...
Sports! Yeah!
Ever wanted to be behind the mic and have the world listening to your show on campus? Well, it's just as simple as joining WPPJ, Point Park's student-run radio station, located on the second floor of Lawrence Hall, right next to the dining services. Listeners can tune in using Point Park's website or through the TuneIn app by searching WPPJ. WPPJ welcomes any new DJs that want to get involved, so be heard. Do you have what it takes?
Well, no one showed up to the show tonight. Follow my lead. In 3, 2, take 2, open mics, Q Talent. Good evening and welcome to UView News. I'm Josh Krupp. We begin with breaking news out of West Penn Hall. Ready, 3, take lower third. Traffic is backed up in the West Penn elevator line after elevator 1 broke down on the 7th floor. Lose lower third. Maintenance advises students to take the stairs to avoid delays. Ready, 2, take 2. In other news, no, you know what? I didn't sign up for this. We need crew. Join UView. Take alien hand transition.
The Steelers took a trip across state to play the Philadelphia Eagles. Ashley Morris, who is making her sideline debut, joined me now to discuss how that game went in our regional report.
Thank you, Blaine. It's now the third week of the NFL season, and the Pittsburgh Steelers suffered one of their worst losses in years. The loss came Sunday when they were defeated 34-3 against the Philadelphia Eagles. The only points for the Steelers came from a field goal by Chris Boswell after kicking a blocked field goal earlier in the game. As for injuries, Steelers linebacker Lawrence Timmons injured his left shin in the first half and was taken to the hospital. Strong safety Robert Golden and left guard Roman Foster also did not return in the second half for Pittsburgh. During the third quarter, Eli Rogers left the game with a toe injury. The Steelers' record is now 2-1. Coming up, the Steelers play the Kansas City Chiefs at Heinz Field, where they hope to get things back on track. Sunday posed an interesting night for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Things got heated during the third inning when Pirates third baseman Jung Ho Kang faked a tag, causing Washington Nationals' Bryce Harper to slide in awkwardly. Harper then left the game with a thumb injury. A frustrated Nationals team had pitcher A.J. Cole throw a pitch behind Kang, and as a result, both benches cleared. Cole and Rodriguez were both ejected from the game. Later, Kang put the Pirates ahead in the 7th with a 2-run homer. However, the Nationals came back with a 5-run 8th inning, putting them back on top and winning 10-7. The preseason is underway for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Phil Kessel, who had hand surgery in July, was on the ice and doing well. However, Matt Murray was not in the net and will be out for the next 3 to 6 weeks with a broken hand that occurred during the World Cup. The defending Stanley Cup champions begin the regular season on October 13th when they play their rival, the Washington Capitals.
Thanks, Ashley. So, the Steelers, was this a bad game the Steelers had, or was this good Philadelphia Eagles?
I'd say it was definitely bad for the Steelers. I mean, when you play one of your worst games that you've had since, what was it, like the 90s? I'd say it was a bad game. Ben Roethlisberger couldn't seem to throw, and, you know, the Steelers have a young team, but I don't feel like that's a good solution to it, so.
Cool. Thanks, Ashley. Now we are going from the regional action to national action. Frank Miola has the news of what happened around the world of sports.
Starting off in the NFL, Minnesota Vikings running back Adrian Peterson underwent successful surgery on a torn meniscus last Thursday. He injured his knee in a game against the Green Bay Packers. The 7-time Pro Bowler had rushed 31 times for 50 yards before his injury. The earliest Peterson could be allowed to return would be November 20th against the Arizona Cardinals, barring any setbacks. New England Patriots quarterback Jacoby Brissett suffered a thumb injury in a Thursday night game against the Houston Texans. Brissett went 11 of 19 passing for 103 yards and also added a 27-yard touchdown run in a 27-0 victory. Brissett got Thursday's assignment due to Jimmy Garoppolo's shoulder injury suffered against the Dolphins. Patriots head coach Bill Belichick will once again have to search for a quarterback for Sunday's game if neither Garoppolo nor Brissett are ready. Patriots #1 quarterback Tom Brady will be eligible to return Week 5 against the Cleveland Browns following his 4-game suspension. Moving on to basketball, Los Angeles Clippers small forward Paul Pierce announced Monday morning that he was retiring from the game of basketball. Following the 2016-2017 season, Pierce played 15 of his 19 seasons with the Boston Celtics, where he won an NBA championship and was the 2008 NBA Finals MVP. Pierce is easily one of the top 10 players in Celtics history and can be argued as top 5. He is a 10-time All-Star, 16th on the NBA all-time scoring list with 26,316 points, and is ranked second in Celtics team history with 24,021 points. Pierce will join Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, and Kevin Garnett as players from his generation that have recently retired. In sad news, the sports world lost 2 great people on Sunday with the tragic deaths of Miami Marlins pitcher Jose Fernandez and golfing icon Arnold Palmer. Fernandez was only 24 at the time of his shocking death. He was killed in a boating accident while fishing at 3 in the morning on Sunday. Fernandez was a bright young star who was already a 2-time All-Star and was National League Rookie of the Year. Fernandez was destined to win numerous Cy Youngs, and in honor of him, the Marlins are going to retire Fernandez's number 16, making it only the second retired number in franchise history, besides Jackie Robinson's number 42. Golfing icon Arnold Palmer also died on Sunday at the age of 87 while he was in a Pittsburgh hospital awaiting cardiac surgery. Palmer is known as the king of golf, having won more than 90 golf tournaments, including the Masters 4 times, the U.S. Open once, and the British Open twice in 1961 and 1962. He changed the game from a country club pursuit to a sport that became accessible to everyone. Palmer became the first person to make $1 million playing golf, and he was one of the true icons of the sport of golf and will always be considered the greatest ever.
Thanks, Frank. Paul Pierce retiring at the end of the season, adding to more legacies that are ending. How great of a player was Paul Pierce?
Paul Pierce, Blaine, he was the greatest Celtic in my mind of this generation. If you look at it, he was drafted. They didn't have a very good team when he was drafted, and then they brought in Kevin Garnett and they brought in Ray Allen, and then they went to the NBA Finals, and he was there twice, 2008 and then 2010, both against the Lakers. So I think he is one of the greatest Celtics to ever play, and I think he's going to be missed.
He will be. Maybe he'll get that second championship. But thanks, Frank. Don't go too far, though. As we head into our final break, I'm going to ask one question. Is Bill Belichick the best coach in NFL history? We'll find out what our reporters think in Cases of the Week.
Did you know that Point Park has a cheerleading squad?
Don't stop. Don't get it confused.
Not only do our cheerleaders represent Point Park at regional and national competitions, but they also promote spirit and awareness of every sports team on campus. Come to any men's or women's varsity basketball game at home to watch the cheerleaders perform at halftime and cheer from the sidelines from the first jump ball to the final buzzer. Sports not your thing? You can catch the cheer team lead the crowd at the fall and spring pep rallies as well, or at several competitions around Pittsburgh each year. So what are you waiting for? Show the Point Park cheerleaders the support they show you.
Every human being has a purpose, has a dream to have their voices heard, no matter where they come from, no matter where they go. As an American, it is their right to have freedom of speech. I have a dream that one day this message will speak louder than words, that even the quietest voice will not go unnoticed. That is my dream. What is yours? For more information, visit www.freedomofspeechpsa.org.
Welcome back to the Pioneer Sideline. It's that time of the show again for Cases of the Week. I'm joined again by Sarah Maculin and Frank Miola, and Rob Gomez is making his season debut. And guys, we got to get started. So, here's the first topic. Is Bill Belichick the best coach in NFL history? I mean, look what he's done with Jacoby Brissett, Matt Castle, and with Jimmy Garoppolo.
I think he's going to be up there. I mean, you have greats like Vince Lombardi, Don Shula, Chuck Noll, and of course, everything that happened with Deflategate and Spygate and all that, it's going to stain him a little bit, but just not what he's done this season with the two rookie quarterbacks. But you look at the stats he has, they're just staggering. He's the most postseason wins in NFL history with 23. In his past, he's had 16 seasons with the Patriots, 15 straight winning records, 7 consecutive AFC titles, and he's tied with Chuck Noll for most Super Bowls. So it's just like, I don't know how you can refute that.
Yeah, you know, I as much as I hate to agree, I say he's definitely up there with one of the top coaches. I mean, the respect he demands from his players. I mean, in football, it seems like most players control the team and the coaches are just there. But Bill Belichick is the complete opposite with him. He demands the respect, and if you ain't going to give it to him, you're gone.
Yeah. Yeah, there's definitely going to always be that asterisk there, like she mentioned, with the Deflategate and Spygate. But if you look at what he did, he took Tom Brady, a 6th-round draft pick, and he turned him into an MVP and a multiple-time Super Bowl champion. So I think he's definitely up there, but again, he's got the asterisk next to his name.
Yep, that's true. I mean, the asterisk's always going to be there, especially for Spygate. Deflategate, not too much because they killed the Colts in the AFC Championship game. All right, on to our next topic. Who's the best of the undefeated teams so far in the NFL? You got the Eagles, you got the Vikings, you got the Patriots, you got the Broncos, and you also have
Baltimore Ravens.
Baltimore, yes.
Baltimore.
That's why
forget. I know, I forget they're undefeated because they should have lost some games. But who's the best of the undefeated so far?
Definitely New England. You got Tom Brady coming back Week 5 against the Cleveland Browns. You could look at Denver and say, yes, they're up there too, but they have a rookie quarterback, Trevor Siemian. I just don't see anybody really beating New England when Tom Brady comes back. And I'm surprised, actually, where Baltimore's at 3-0. I never expected that one. But, yeah, definitely Tom Brady and the New England Patriots.
You know, I'm going to say Mike Zimmer and the Vikings, actually. You know, I like the Vikings. They're a solid team. I mean, and they've done some damage against some good teams. And, you know, and you can't say that the Patriots haven't. I mean, they have taken on, you know, the Cardinals, they killed the Texans, but you know, I like the way the Vikings are looking. They're a solid team, solid defense, and believe it or not, Sam Bradford is actually getting the job done, even without AP.
Shocking, yeah. Like you said, it's without AP too. Very shocking that the Vikings are 3-0, but how they defeated the Packers at their home, and they went to Carolina and beat Carolina.
That was a big game.
Big game, and they tortured Cam Newton all day. So. Says a lot about that defense.
Yeah, those are the two teams I had. New England, and the fact that, one, they're doing this so far all without Tom Brady, and they're getting it done in the air and on the ground. Blunt has 4 touchdowns already, almost 300 yards rushing, and he's not even supposed to be their starter. It's supposed to be Dion Lewis. So they're getting it done in both ways. And the same with the Vikings, just the way they've come back from losing their starting quarterback and their running back to beat teams like Carolina and the Packers, who are considered the league's elite.
Yeah, and I'm shocked nobody said the Broncos.
Well, I was gonna say, I thought you are you.
No,
taking
no,
the
no,
Eagles? Are you taking the
no.
Eagles?
No, I'm shocked the Eagles are undefeated, but I'm shocked nobody took the Broncos, the defending Super Bowl champions, really proving that defense wins championships. And John Elway's looking pretty smart with naming Trevor Siemian as the starting quarterback. Had a big day against the Cincinnati Bengals this week. All right, so thanks guys for joining me, and I want to thank everyone, all the reporters I had, and all the crew here who joined me today here at the Pioneer Sideline and helped out. And thank you for joining us for another episode of the Pioneer Sideline. Join us again next week as we check out how Point Park Sports are doing in their River State's conference play. And we will also see if the Pirates did the unthinkable and clinch a wild card spot. So join me next week at the same Pioneer time, the same Pioneer place, and of course, the same Pioneer Sideline.